after everyone has taught you how to trade, I want to teach you how not to trade. And I want to give you lots of information and examples on what is going on for traders who are struggling. Because the first thing we need to do is we need to understand why we are struggling, what is going on, what are the circumstances before we can find a solution. And this is really the tricky part, right? It's like sometimes we don't have the information, we don't have the understanding, we don't have the skill set on solving the challenges that we have. Like Einstein said, right? You can't solve the problems with the same brain that created it. And it's so true. And that's why I always love that Anke and David put on these events, because here's your opportunity to ask questions and to find out what it is that you need to do differently so that you can live your dream of being a professional, profitable trader, whatever the extent for you is. So Tony Robbins, I mean, I just love Tony Robbins. I know there's some people who don't like him as much, who think he's just a motivational speaker, but I'm actually a fully, completely trained coach. And every year I go back to my coaching school and we learn new coaching skills, because it's changing so much now with MRI scans. We know how the brain works, and NLP is amazing, right? A lot is based on neurolinguistic programming, but coaching has come so much further since the early neurolinguistic programming coaching schools in the 70s. And Tony Robbins, when you're a trained coach, like when you're a trained trader, you see someone who is excellent, someone who has this skill where they make something look effortless, right? When you watch Carolyn looking at charts, it looks effortless. Like she just looks at it and she knows. And Tony Robbins is the same when it comes to coaching. People think he's just having a chat with people, but there's so much going on, so much structure, framework that he applies when he works with people or when he just chats with people. It's amazing. And so he says, in the moments of decision, that's when your destiny is shaped. And that's exactly what it is for us traders, right? Trading is not rocket science. And so you can pretty much, and there has been experiments done where you pretty much have a monkey throwing darts at the dartboard and they came out profitable. So it can't be that trading is so hard. It is really that we make it hard. Understanding how markets work, how candlesticks work, developing a trading strategy. It's not that difficult. It's possible, but we traders make it complicated. So I want to share with you today just one or two things that you can start implementing straight away to make it really tangible for you. Okay, there we go. So I want to congratulate you that you're even here, right? Because today is all about you taking charge and learning how you can deal with your emotions, and not just with your emotions, with your whole trading powerfully. And when it comes to losing weight, right? We have this thing with the Ozempic weight drug now. Man, so many people want to have the weight drug and lose weight the easy way. They don't want to do the push-ups. They don't want to train their body. They don't want to retrain their eating habits. And now it turned out that Ozempic actually has really bad side effects. Here in Australia, at least, there have been cases where people lost their eyesight. And it's always like that. When we look for a shortcut, there will always be something that's throwing us a boulder in the way, and it's actually not good for us. There is no shortcuts, guys. I was working with a trader, and she thought that she can change her trading habits in 4 weeks. She's 50. She's had 5 decades of bad behavior. She has never done personal development. She would sign up for an Ozempic kind of trading mindset drug, but yeah, it's not working. So you guys, you're here. You're automatically already in the top 1% of traders in the world, in my opinion, because that's what it takes. That's the journey. That's how you get there. Being in the top 1% is a mindset thing. We know that not just in trading, in sports. I saw the statistics on Navy SEALs, how few people, I think 0.07% only get through. And not because the butts training is so tough. It's because people don't have the heart and the determination and the hunger to make it through. There's one epic guy, like I love him, Alex from MacroOps. Check out MacroOps.com, his website. He is an ex, I don't think he was a Navy SEAL, but he's, a soldier. And he has an article on his website where he's actually not the biggest guy and he is not the strongest guy, but he was so determined, he was so hungry to make it through, even in the face of pain and challenges and thinking he can't do it. He dug even deeper and found deep down some more resources and kept going. And that's the saying, the mind gives up long before the body gives up, or the body can take so much more. So the same in trading, guys. Traders, they give up so quickly and it's like, I can't do this, I'm not disciplined enough. And the question is, are you interested or are you really, really determined? Traders who are interested, or generally people who are interested in losing weight, in running a successful business, whatever it is, they usually go for what's comfortable. In trading, there's no such thing as comfort, right? Until you have developed the artistry like Carolyn has. Then the comfort starts coming in because you know what you're doing. You understand your landscape, but the journey to get there, it's not comfortable, right? So I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to tell you this is how you make yourself feel good. No, this is how you manage and deal with your emotions, how you dig deep and use your emotions as a driving force and to help you to succeed and become the best trader you can be. Now, when we look at self-sabotage in trading, we always have good intentions, don't we? How many times do traders tell me? In fact, I just spoke to someone last night. He's like, I have all the good intentions. I even put photos of my daughters on the screen because I want to be a successful trader for them. I want to show them what life can be like. And yet I can't stop myself jumping into trades, being compulsive, being impulsive. So he's done quite a bit of work on himself already. And he's like, I'm at my wit's end, right? So we do have the good intentions. We put the post-it notes on our computer screen. And guys, I've done it myself. I have done the normal journey that it takes from, challenging, struggling trader to a trader who actually feels comfortable in the market and dances with the market. So I really hear when my traders tell me those stories because I have been there through all the ups and downs. So what happens? We have the good intention and then a feeling stops us, right? And when that feeling stops us, that's usually the moment when we either manage that feeling and we still do what needs to be done, or we give in to that feeling and we take the comfortable way. The comfortable way is what's comfortable in the moment, right? So it's like with eating sweets. We all know what devastating effects sugar or too much sugar can have on us, right? So a little bit of chocolate or ice cream a day is not bad. It's the whole block of chocolate that makes the difference. And can you have a little piece of chocolate or do you eat the whole block? That is the difference between maybe getting cancer or not, right? Being healthy with the weight or not, having a healthy liver or not. And it's the same in trading. What do we do then? We have the feeling, we have the impulsive need to jump into the trade, for example, and then we start justifying that feeling with our thoughts. And then all the monkeys start. I think this is a really good setup. Last time I missed the setup, I should give it a chance. I promised myself, if it doesn't work out, I get out here. And then what happens? The trade doesn't work out. the trader doesn't get out of the trade and lets the loss run. And there is such a mess. It's all those monkeys talking. So to give you the first tool, as soon as you have the monkeys in your head telling you what to do or what not to do, you're driven by impulsive behavior, compulsive behavior. It is not you at your core, your authentic self. It's all the different parts in you that are worried about ever making it, that want to escape maybe a job that they hate, that want to create a better life for the family. So they're all fear-driven monkeys. They make the decisions for you. And when you know it's a really good trade, so when you're in the zone, to use Mark Douglas' expression, there's no monkeys in your head. You look at the chart, you just know you do your thing. There is no emotional stress with it, or maybe just a little bit anticipation, and that's good, that's healthy. But as soon as you have all these monkeys trying to convince you of something, you are already in a mindset that is not going to help you to deal with a trade when it's not working out, yeah, because that's then fear driven. And some people say greed. To me, greed is also fear, right? So what is greed? Greed is like, I want it now, I want it now. What is someone who wants it now? Well, that is someone who feels they don't have enough right now. Right? So it's still a fear-driven thing. So I want to give you lots of examples of how traders messed up, and so that you can start identifying for yourself how you mess up. That's the very first step. Yeah, so you need to look at how is it at the moment that you create your losing trades that are not part of your trading methodology, because none of us is perfect, right? I have a trader, for example, he has a 35-65% profit loss ratio. So 3 out of 10 trades are profitable, but he makes millions of dollars in a year, so that's not the point. But his profit factor is 12. That means that for every dollar he loses, he makes $12 in profits. So what he does is he probes the trade, and then he gets on and gets the big runners. So everyone is different. It's not just, a lot of people ask me, so what's the difference between successful traders and losing traders? There is no just one difference. Everyone is different. You need to find your own style. And by the way, if you have questions, ask me. I'm not a big fan of Mandi TV, but ask me questions. That's how you bring the best out of me, because I don't know what you need. I'm just taking a step in the dark based on my experience of working with traders. But please ask. I keep an eye on the chat. So this trader, heartbreak. So that was last Friday, the ES. And you can see he, don't know if you can see my, can you see my mouse? David, can you just give me feedback if you can see my mouse?
Yeah, we can see that.
Excellent, good. So that was the last candle before the open. And that was the opening candle. And then you can see that last candle was also the last candle from this move down. And then it started changing direction. So this trader's strategy is that when it starts moving direction, retest this area, that's so long for him. So he saw this, his entry would have been here at the green level, and he hesitated. He started overthinking it, and then it took off without him. This went on, right? This went further. It was about 100 points profits on the ES. It's a lot, right? Would have been a great trade for him. So he then, of course, emailed me and said, oh my God, I could have made so much money. This is just not fair. And he got really angry at himself. And then we know what happens when we get angry at ourselves. We mess up. On the back of it, we try to fix that feeling of feeling angry, and we start going on tilt, or we do revenge trading, meaning we get in and out. Or actually, that's going on tilt. Or we let a loss run, or we do just something that does not help our trading career. Now, as I said here, he is hesitating. What is hesitation? Hesitation is when we start overthinking things. And overthinking is always fear-driven. Overthinking is always trying to find certainty in uncertainty. The markets are tricky because you have to make decisions under uncertainty, but so is sports, right? So it's running a business. So is health, right? So how do I know that this diet is going to work for me? Maybe it doesn't. So are relationships. How do I know my marriage is going to last? We don't. We can just do the best we can with the information we have. The only certainty we have is saying, thanks, Sonia. I'll address your question in a sec. Really great question. The only certainty we have is that we know that we take our loss here, right? So that's the stop loss, this black line. But then if you're a trader who doesn't trust himself or herself, then we have uncertainty again, right? So that's the mental dilemma that traders are dealing with. So number one, as soon as you start hesitating, you know that you are worried about uncertainty. You know that it is your brain trying to find certainty in an uncertain environment. There's three types of hesitation, though. The hesitation to enter the trade, the hesitation to exit the trade, and the hesitation on taking profits. So you can start already see a pattern of thinking where maybe hesitation also shows up in other areas of your life. When you go to a restaurant, do you find it hard to choose a meal for yourself? Where else do you find it hard to be decisive? So then we can see decisiveness is actually something that you might not have learned in your life, and it shows now up in your trading. So this guy is actually a really good trader. And the reason why he hesitated here was because it was quadruple witching and he wasn't sure if the market's going to jump up or down. Now, Sonia is asking a great question. With so many strategies being shared, how do we find the right strategy for ourselves? So I'm going to take a little bit of a detour. The way we know how to find the right strategy for ourselves is we first need to know ourselves. There's, in a nutshell, 4 different type of people. So that's the disc profile. I'm a disc profiler. I'm a trained disc profiler. And so all I need is a chart of your disc profile, and I can kind of read the chart and make a lot of assumptions about how you make decisions. But so if you're someone who is a high D and a high I, these kind of traders are very, very active. So they're better in terms of short-term trading usually. And the high S's and the high C's, if you don't know what that stands for, just Google DISC, D-I-S-C. They're usually the ones who want to think about things a little longer. So we already know they are better at swing trading or maybe even longer term investing. Right? So that's how you start looking at how do you naturally make decisions in life? Do you like to take your time? Do you want to have a lot of information, or do you make them fast and quick? Are you facts and figures focused? So another indication is, are you detail focused or a big picture person? When you look at Carolyn's Elliott wave, that is more big picture structure thinking. Looking at what this guy does, that's actually more detail. Yeah, so candlesticks is usually detail. How do you look or process information in your normal life? If you're more detail focused, then trade maybe smaller time frames, like an L. Brooks, who goes bar by bar. I was working with a trader, and I'll show you an example of him later. He is a very successful entrepreneur, right? He built up a company to 8 figures, and so he did L. Brooks's training, which is bar by bar price action, and he didn't quite get it. It was very helpful for him, but he couldn't trade it. Yeah, because he's a big picture guy. He can't deal with detail. And I know other traders who did L. Brooks's price action, and they thrive on it because they're a detail person. So Sonia, I hope that's already helping you. Just look for those two insights, and then it will already help you which strategy works for you. And then, of course, trust yourself. What feels right for you? My strategy, how I developed my strategy was by doing lots and lots of trainings. I studied everything under the sun. Elliott wave, GAN, price action, chart patterns, so double tops, double bottoms, and so on. And from each trainer, I looked from each trainer, I took one piece of information that really resonated with me. And that's how I built my own strategy. Amazing, Sonia. So I have on my website, highperformancetrading.com.au, a free training, Sonia. And in that free training, I have a 1 hour webinar about the disc profile and how it applies to traders. So I can also email David a link if you're interested. All right, so you can see there was an A grade setup for this trader, and he didn't take it. So now what the thing is, that train is gone, right? So he missed that trade. In order to now avoid making big making a big mess of your trading account, aka going on tilt because you feel resentful having missed that trade. Now it's really important that you take a moment. I'm not a big fan of getting up and leaving the computer, by the way. I'm a big fan of dealing with your shit, right? Getting up, walking away is helping in the moment, but everybody's different, right? I'm not saying that my way is the right way. Okay, Sonia, I'll send it to David, and David will send it to you. I'm not saying my way is the right way and that it's the only way. You need to find out what works for yourself by trying it on, okay? So again, I'm not a big fan of walking away. I sit there, and that's what I do with my traders as well. I sit there, look at my emotions, the anger, the disappointment, whatever it is that is coming after having missed that trade. And I deal with them first. I calm them down first. I regulate them first before I go on and take the next trade. So that's the pause that I take. Walking away and ruminating about it is not helping. I tried it many times. And that's also the feedback that I get from traders. It's not helping. But if you walk away and look at your emotions and work through them, that might be a different story. Okay. This trader, oh my God, he is an amazing trader. He's so good, this guy. He really knows how to read the market. But his self-image is so, or was, it's several years ago that I worked with him, was so down in the dumpsters. And he is such an amazing guy. It's, the old story. He had a mother, he had a horrible mother, right? Really, she always criticized him and shamed him in front of other people. It was no wonder that he had such, look at his self-talk. I get so unbelievably angry when this happens. It drives me fucking insane. Here he missed by 1 point. Here he had FOMO. The emotions went wild. And he always was looking at himself like he is a terrible trader. I love this cup. Someone posted on Twitter a while ago, so I kept it for presentations like that. Again, if we take Tony Robbins's framework, the quality of your questions determine the quality of your solutions. Do you think his self-talk is going to help him to get out of this merry-go-round of ruminating and feeling bad? No, it doesn't, right? This self-talk, when you have this self-talk, that's the second indication for you. There's something for you to work on yourself. Here you have something that you can transform, and you should get excited, right? So be excited and say, great, now I found another piece of information, another tool that I can work on. Change your self-talk. So most traders, I have a little collection here. I love it. You know, the emails that I keep getting from my traders, and before we start working together, I just completely lost control. I really don't know how to trade. So this guy, I really don't know how to trade. He is phenomenal. He knows how to trade, but what he talks about is that the emotions get in the way and he misses trades and I don't know what. I feel completely lost. I'm having a panic attack. I'm an intergalactic idiot. This guy is a very successful hedge fund trader. So he's got his own hedge fund, very successful. I gaze 10 hours on my screen and don't take action. There were at least 3 opportunities. So you can see it also happens to really successful professional traders. We are all we are all humans. Yeah. So I feel upset, depressed, lost, angry. Like you can see, I don't need to go through all these, but I'm pretty sure that you guys, because everybody has been at some stage in their trading life, experienced this kind of self-talk. Give yourself 5 minutes to feel really bad, to feel disempowered, to feel disappointed, to feel all that, and then pick yourself up by your shoestrings and leave all that behind in the dust, start working through it, and pick yourself up and create a new future. Now, what traders do is they get stuck in that merry-go-round of these emotional traps. This inner critic is just overshadowing. They can't sleep at night. They're ruminating on it, and it's not helping. That's, by the way, a learned habit. And so by you start changing that by changing your self-talk. I just completely lost control today. Yeah, okay, well, that's the reality. You did lose control. Okay, so what am I going to do about this? What is it that I need to learn to stop that behavior? How can I get control back? Do you see how, yes, you can say these things to yourself, but then don't stop there. This is what most people do. Keep thinking and transform that into how can I? The most powerful question in the world. Yesterday, someone said to me, I said to him, do you want to record our session on Zoom? And he said, I don't know how to. And I said, well, don't talk to me like this. I don't know how to, because I really don't care. And he looked at me surprised and I said, now ask me. And he said, okay, so how do I turn on recording? I said, there we go. Let me help you. You press Alt R. Yeah, so make that a habit to always ask. Don't say, I can't do this. I don't know how to. How can I do this? Like in your daily communication, don't say, oh, I don't know how to switch on the light. Say, how can I switch on the light? Can you please help me? For many, this is a massive mind shift because this guy and most people who don't ask for help, they have had the experience in childhood that they ask for help, then they got ridiculed, or no one came to help them, and they feel it's no point anyway in asking, or it's dangerous to ask. Yeah, so change that. Ask. Like Sonia did, right? I love that. Oops. Like Sonia did, I love that. She asked me straight away, and I want you guys to invite you guys, please ask me. There is no stupid question for me. It's always anyone who asks a question. I always love that. That makes me happy. So in those moments of vulnerability that we get into the fight, flight, and freeze response, that's, what this self-talk is. It's not the inner critic that causes the self-sabotaging actions. It's how we have been trained to respond. The automatic, natural thoughts of the inner critic that cause us to then mess up our trading, to sabotage our trading, going on tilt, etc., after having missed this great trade. By the way, every time I do a deep dive into what happened, why someone messed up their trading, it's usually because they had this kind of mistake at the beginning of the day or the day before. It's never the problem itself that is the problem. It's never the messed up trade that is the problem. Usually something happened before, either in trading or in their personal life. right? So the mind is really powerful. We actually can unlearn learned behavior and learn new behavior. That's really exciting. So if you have this kind of behavior that you mess up, know that you can change, right? Um, create this mindset of, okay, I messed this up, but I can change. What is it that I need to change? Sounds simple, right? Now this guy here again, you can see, oops, keep doing that. And you can see he got stuck in a sideways pattern. He says, I took a absolute beating. Yeah, because the strategy is not designed for sideways trading. The strategy is designed, it's a breakout strategy. And that is clearly not a breakout trade, right? So, but he was so stuck in his mind and in his pain that he didn't um, identify that this was a sideways pattern. He only saw it in hindsight. And that's the other thing. When we are under stress, we don't see what's happening when we are, so we don't see clearly on the chart what's happening when we make those mistakes. And in hindsight, it's clear. And that's why I always say, go back on live market replay and look at what did the chart look like in that moment, right? Because when oops, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Can we please go the other direction? Yeah. So when he took this trade to go long, for example, that looked like a valid trade to go long and hoping for a breakout. But then when it didn't happen several times, then you should know at least that this was not going to happen. The breakout would have been here or here and not here. Yeah, so for him, it wasn't that he didn't want it bad enough. He wanted it so badly that his nervous system went in overdrive. That's what happened. When our nervous system is in overdrive, we all know that. That's then our amygdala taking over. Our prefrontal cortex, where our logical rational thinking sits, is completely dark and we can't think clearly anymore. And that's why, in hindsight, when we are in control of our nervous system again, we look at it and it's like, it was so clear. How could I miss this? Well, because when you're under stress, the fight, flight, freeze response, you can't think clearly. So the job is for you to identify, okay, now I'm under stress. My amygdala, my emotional stress brain has taken over. I first need to switch on my rational thinking brain before I can continue to trade. That is practice, right? So you notice you're going on tilt and you feel all the feelings coming with it. That's the sign for you to stop, deal with your emotions, regulate them, get your nervous system calmed down, switch on your prefrontal cortex, and keep going. So here is another example of hesitation. He was in a very, very good profit, didn't take his profits. He thought it's three different problems that he's dealing with, but at the core of it was the same problem: hesitation, indecisiveness. Indecisiveness because as a child he was being scolded for making mistakes. Of course, he would be afraid of taking decisions. He wasn't aware of it, and just the awareness of it, that this could maybe have a connection, just freed him completely. It's not always that it's childhood experiences. It is also something that you maybe don't have a clear exit strategy. That's what I see a lot as well. So someone who shows this pattern, I would say, show me what your risk management rule is. What is your exit strategy rule? And I first look at, can we maybe improve the exit strategy? And I found really most traders who think they have emotional challenges, actually their exit strategy is not clear enough. And I always say, your entries and your exits, they have to be like train. When How do you know it's time to step onto the train? And it's really interesting. I like to ask this question to my traders. And then they would say, well, when the train drives onto the station, it's like, no, then you kill yourself, right? It's the moment, well, here in Australia, they go beep, 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 and then the doors open. That's how clear your entry signal has to be. That the doors open, you're like, now I know I have to get onto the train. And the same for the exit, right? So you go, you wait for the train to stop. If you start trying to exit the train before the train stops and the doors open, you hit your head. So you wait until it goes beep, 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 doors open. That's how clear your exit strategy has to be. Now for him, he has a really clear exit strategy, really well defined. So as I said, he's a phenomenal trader. That's how I knew this was a mindset problem, not a skill set problem. Sonia, I often feel like I am calm, but when I look back at my decisions, I find that I missed things that seemed obvious in hindsight. This is really, really great insight. So when you missed something, I assume that I'm actually not calm, but I'm unaware of my state, or could it be something else? Um, it's hard to say without doing further investigation, but my first response would be yes, you maybe weren't calm, you were what we call dissociated, that you cut yourself off from your emotions and it's kind of feeling numb. And so that's not helping either because our prefrontal cortex, our logical brain, is still not engaged. So what I would recommend you to do is to say, what is it specifically that you missed? Write that down and then go on live market replay and practice identifying that specific piece of information that you missed. So train your brain to identify it. And then even if you're numb, even if I wake you up in the middle of the night and you look at the screen, your brain immediately identifies that setup or that piece of information that was missed. Yeah, so amazing insights. I love your work, Sonia. Good, my pleasure. So emotional resilience is what was missing for my trader. And I love Bob Buran. Bob Buran is a friend of market wizard Linda Rushke. And Bob is in his 80s. He's phenomenal, right? Amazing guy. So he had this saying, the ability to recover from one's own stupidity is the mark of a good trader. Get up and fight again. And I love that, right? Because traders usually they say, oh, can you help me to stop doing stupid things? Or can you help me to stop being emotional? No, you're human. I can't, unfortunately. I'm really, really sorry. But what I can help you with is building the emotional resilience and to recover and come back bigger and better. Because that's really like if you read Linda Rushke's um, again, Market Wizard from the new Market Wizards. If you read her book, Trading Sardines was a whole book about all the mistakes she made, all the challenges she got thrown into, because life does that, right? Going through divorce, being a single mom, falling on her shoulder, breaking her shoulder, not being able to execute with her mouse hand, finding solutions, typhoons, being in the plane and the market plummets, thank God the plane didn't plummet, only the market, but like how do you deal with those challenges? That's her book in Trading Sardines, what it's all about. So you can see she still is one of the most amazing, most successful traders in the world. And she a hedge fund I think was quoted number 8 in the world. Everything is audited. It's not just empty words. And she had the same challenges everyone else has. So learn how to deal with challenges, learn how to be resilient, practice that because the challenges are not going to go away. So it's the traders who learn to cope with the challenges and not try to escape them. And that's why I say I'm not a big fan of walking away and trying to get your head right again. No, walk away and deal with whatever you need to deal with. That's the most powerful place to be in. Now, this trader here, he he's a good trader, but he had difficulties to identify reversals and retracement. And so I asked him to go back on a small account and practice that. So see here, he thought it's a double bottom reversal pattern going up, but it turned out to be a continuation pattern. And so now we practice that. And I find, again, this is one of the biggest challenges traders have, to identify between reversal patterns and retracements. So again, it's not a mindset, it's a skill set challenge. Something that, Sonia maybe has experienced, where she says, I missed something. And that's what we did with this trader. Like, how could you have identified that this is not going to be a double bottom, but this is actually going to be a continuation pattern? Now, the way I do it, I already know double bottoms can turn into triangle continuation patterns to the upside. Double tops can do the same. How many double tops did I started trading and they turned to be a continuation to the upside? The moment this bar happened, we have a triangle. That breakout was the trade. So yes, you take this long entry, you get out as soon as this happens, because now your double bottom is not the setup is invalidated, and that's a new continuation pattern setup. Train your brain. That was this thing. His brain was a little bit too rigid. Train your brain to identify the difference between double bottom, between continuation pattern and reversal pattern. Now, this guy, really interesting, phenomenal trader. That's the trader who was a successful entrepreneur. He had this perfect setup, right? He loves this setup. That's his A+ setup. And what happens to him? He starts getting anxiety out of nowhere, right? His heart starts palpitating, and he can't think clearly anymore. And he's like, what the heck is going on with me? I have dealt with like the biggest companies in the world. I have overcome the greatest challenges one can have. And here's this little trade. He lost $200, but $200 is nothing to him. But it gave him so much anxiety, right? So he took this beautiful setup and started micromanaging. And then he looked back and he got so annoyed at himself that he tried to make himself feel better, traded this area, right? Sideways pattern again. That is what I see the biggest reason why traders mess up, because they don't identify those sideways patterns. They get really eaten up. And so he had no business being in this market. That was after the ES closed, so that was Asia session. There was low liquidity, there was nothing, and yet he could not peel himself from the markets because he tried to make himself feel better. What happened here was again, childhood experiences. It doesn't always have to be. For him, it was. Where as a child he was he was on the path to being a successful Olympic athlete. He was in an Olympic program as a teenager, and in America they have like special schools, special programs for that. But something happened. There was an illness in the family, and he had to give up on his dream because the family had to spend all their money on trying to help make the person that got sick better, to get healthy again. And he had to give up on his dream. And suddenly, he wasn't he wasn't the focus of the family anymore. He wasn't a golden boy anymore. He was like, no one took care of him, ever took care of the sick family member, and he was kind of abandoned. So he had to give up on his dream. He was being left alone to deal with the aftermath. And this fear, this past experience that is really ingrained in our nervous system, in our cells. So The Body Keeps Score from Van Bessel is one great book that explains exactly how traumatic experiences are in our nervous system. And that's how what Carl Jung calls the compulsion to repeat. this is being repeated in our day-to-day life if we don't heal that trauma. So the trauma itself can never be healed because what happened happened. It's like, you know, you have a scar. I cut myself here when I was a child. I still have this scar, you know, decades later. But the relationship to that trauma, that can be healed, that it doesn't drive anxiety anymore. So he said, oops, he said, I don't know, it's like an alien possessed me. And when someone says that to me, a lot of traders say that to me. I love that. It always reminds me of the movie Men in Black, you know, when he opens up, I think it's Will Smith, right? He opens up the brain of this guy, and then there is this little alien sitting in the brain with all the remotes, and you know, really taking charge of the guy's brain, and it's not his own will anymore. So with this trader, oh my God, that was such a heartbreak. He saw early on, so that's a daily chart, that the S is going to come down, right? So he saw this double top. He was very careful because he knows a double top can turn into a triangle continuation pattern. Put on his first short here, put a stop loss up here. Then the ES breached 6,000 and he tripled. So he put another 2 contracts, 2 lots. But then you can see it started coming right back up on the day. The next day, it went sideways for 4 days. So he was a bit sweating. The market came right back down again. Again, when it breached the 6,000 mark, he added another few contracts. Then the market kept going up, and he didn't have enough money in the account because as the market goes up, the margin requirements went up, and he was hopelessly over leveraged. And just a day before, I think, yeah, a day before the market turned, he got blown out, and the broker took all his money. Good on the broker, and the market went to his target without him. It's heartbreaking. It's traumatic. And I think it was like a 50,000 euro account. And yeah, he was devastated. You can imagine that. So what was going on here? What was going on was that he started dreaming about, wow, I'm going to create this amazing future for my wife. This is going to be the trade that is going to change everything for me, where I make so much money. I'm going to take my wife, who has been so patient with me, on a 5-star holiday. This is going to be my big short moment. And that's why he went in so big. So he was already living in the future and was not present in the moment anymore. So here's another tip for you. Every time you start dreaming about the future, how you're going to, you know, enjoy the fruits of making a great profit, I guarantee you're going to mess it up. You need to make sure that you read what is going on right now in the market, not what was going on in the future, not dreaming about the future. Planning for the future is something else. You plan for the future, but you deal with the present. And so the reason why he over leveraged, that's, by the way, my friend, he has a brokerage, and the US brokers do keep statistics on us. The biggest reason why traders never make it is, number one, because they're over leveraged and then they blow out. They would have been successful and profitable if they hadn't over leveraged. And number two, because traders don't take their losses. So when you have the urge to over leverage, know that this is the straight path to messing up. There is no such thing as a big profit unless you have enough money in the account, right? So calculate, because the other thing that he didn't identify was that with one contract, your stop loss, let's say, is $1,000 or euros. Now with 5 contracts, the losses rack up as well. And he didn't calculate for having had now a bigger amount or contract size. And now with every point the trade goes against his position, he has a bigger loss. So when you start piling in and adding contracts to your position, make sure that you are actually also calculating your risk management. So what we have to do is we have to train our unconscious mind. All this is driven by the unconscious mind. And I love Linda Rushke. She actually did a bodybuilding competition at the age of 48, and she won. And she said to me always, Mandi, you're not losing weight, you're changing your body composition. And I absolutely love that, right? You don't become more disciplined, you're building a new mindset by fundamentally changing your perspective and your approach to trading and your self-image. So I think I had 45 minutes. I just want to, if that's okay with you guys, there's so much that is actually from my Quantum Trader program. Don't have time to go through this. What I want to share with you is it's the person who can overcome challenges. That's the trader who will become successful, not the trader who runs away from the challenges. It's the obstacle that's in the way, that's the way to being very successful. And it's the trader who doesn't run away from feeling bad, but leans in and takes on those, thank you, David, and takes on those challenges by growing and becoming bigger and better. And when we grow, those challenges become really small, right? So as we grow, taking a loss is not a big deal anymore. Then other problems come up, right? That's life. But that's really what I want to um, impart on you, how important it is that you learn conflict resolution, that you learn how to find solution to your problems. Because I don't know about you guys, I never learned it as a child. My mom didn't know. My parents separated early, so father wasn't really present. And you know, in hindsight, he didn't know how to solve problems either. So, but nowadays, there is the internet. There is so much available. We can learn how to deal with the challenges that we have in trading. And my mantra is always, I borrowed that from Jim Rohn, who was one of the first people that I came across when I did my wealth creation and when I learned trading and started on my wealth creation journey. It is So I created that mantra myself, right? So don't wish trading were easier. Wish to continue to become a better trader, to keep growing and evolving so that the level of your trading success is limitless. I'm working with someone who is already super successful, makes several million a year, and we work together because he wants to reach the next level. So it's not always that we only get coaching because we want to solve problems, because we want to suck less. No, we want to get better as well. Don't wish to have less problems and challenges in trading. Wish for the optimal mindset, more tools and skills to overcome those. And don't wish trading were less challenges. Practice so much that you have the experience to make those challenges your superpower. So like what I did with my trader, we really practiced identifying what's the difference between a reversal and a retracement, because that was his weakest link. Everything else he was doing really great. And then when we miss what a reversal is, and it turns into a retracement or the other way around, how do we deal with that? So the more you do that, the more superpowers you develop, you can grow into the person you need to be in order to become the trader you want to be, so that you can live the life that you choose, that you can be inspired by the impossible, that you can live your dream, whatever that dream is. Is it, 100,000 a year, which by the way is only $500 a trading day, based on 200 trading days a year, because you also want to go on holidays, right? It's not much, it's totally doable. And so that's my mantra. And if you would like to go deeper and find out what specifically it is for you, I have a 2.5 hour masterclass coming up. It's only $198, which is approximately 125 US, based on Google. So it's coming up. The information's on the website. I deliberately try to keep them cheaper and more affordable. My one-on-one sessions are obviously much higher because it takes my personal time. But yeah, I invite you to come and join it. You get a little bit of homework beforehand to prepare for the session so you can really work through your challenges, your individual challenges. I can work with you one-on-one as well if you like. And also you get some work, home play after the session. And my favorite saying is, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new end. Or also, every successful trader has a dark past. Like market wizard Linda Rushke, she started her life journey as a trader with a $60,000 or $80,000 US dollar loss in the 1980s. So that was a lot more than it is today. And look at who she became as a result. And that's why every struggling trader also has a bright future. I often feel, oh no, I have said already. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to stay another 10 minutes. Anyone, any questions? Well, if not, I thank you all for being here. Without you, I could not do what I love doing. I wish you an amazing trading journey. I know there were amazing people on the training today. Learn from everyone one little piece of information and then go on live market replay and practice it. Thank you, David and Anka, for putting on this amazing event. Without you guys, the trading world would be less amazing because you make it possible for traders to learn and to grow and to evolve. And putting on an event like that is a lot of work. So we acknowledge that. Thank you very much.